My name is Nafata Das, and welcome all of my LIT2480 peers. Today I will be talking about the poem Once the World Was Perfect by Joy Harjo. Joy Harjo, according to the Poetry Foundation, was a female poetess. She was a part of the Muskogee Nation, or the Creek Nation, which is a Native American group. She used her Native American culture as well as her feelings towards feminism and social justice to help her write her poetry. As well as writing poetry, she was also a singer, she was a teacher, and also saxophonist. Now, in this poem, we see the destruction of the world happening. In the beginning of the poem, we see the author speak about how perfect the world was, how happy everybody was that was in it. But as the poem keeps going on, we see that they're starting to have some behaviors, the people are starting to have some behaviors that will lead to the end of the world. Now, after the world was ended and everything is destroyed, we see that people are still alive and they're starting to work together in order to escape this destructed and annihilated world. Once they build a ladder, the author says that the first people to exit the old world into the new world will be the clan members and then the clan's children, and after that, everybody else that was left into the old world. In this analysis, I will be focusing on the poem's opening lines, the use of symbolism throughout the poem, and also the last lines of the poem to argue that once the world was perfect is about colonization and the effects that a colonization has on native cultures and how, as a society, we are trying to be better than those of our ancestors. My first point about this topic will be about the opening lines of the poem. Now, in the opening lines of the poem, we see how the author is telling us the events that led up to the destruction of the world. So, in the lines 1 through 4, we read, "Once the world was perfect, and we were happy in the world. Then we took it for granted. Discontent began a small rumble in the earthly mind. Then doubt pushed through with its spiked head." So these lines tell a story. It tells the story of before the colonizers arrived and then after the colonizers arrived. Before the colonizers arrived, we see that everybody was happy and they were content with their lives. They had no reason to be discontent as they had never faced outside forces. But once the colonizers come and intrude on their land, we see that discontent begins to appear in their lives, and were and their world is now forever changed because doubt pushed through with its spike head. So these people came and they pushed their way into their land and they forcefully took the land from them. So this could be seen as the spiked head. So the first few lines of this poem support my thesis. This is about colonization because it shows us how the colonists came to another country and destroyed the lives of the people who lived there. The next point I will be making about this poem is the symbolism that is used throughout the poem. So the symbolism in the poem creates a distinctive divide between the perpetrators, which are the colonizers, and those that are being colonized, which are the Native Americans. In the lines 5 through 7, it says, "And doubt ruptured the web. All manner of demon thoughts jumped through." So I think this line could have two ways of being interpreted. I think the first way would be that the author is trying to say that the colonizers perceived the Native Americans as demons. Maybe they did not like the fact that they did not want them on their land, and so they demonized them and made them out to be the bad guys. I think the other way that you could interpret this were that the colonizers themselves were the people with demon thoughts, saying basically that they came to this new land with ill intentions, that they came with unjust intentions, and that they were not here to do anything good. This symbolism connects to my thesis because it shows that the colonizers, either way that you look at it, whether it's the first interpretation or the second interpretation, that the colonizers did not have good intentions when they came here. And they came here to take away the land of the people that lived there in this world, and they did not have any regard for them as people, but came with their own intentions and their own plans on what to do with this new world. My final point will be talking about the last few lines of this poem. Now, in the last few lines, we see there's a distinct change of tone from the rest of the poem. So, in the last few lines, we see that the author is using words like kindness, and light. This gives the poem a lot happier tone. It gives it more lighter tone. It's basically a very different aura from the rest of the poem. The middle of the poem was very dark. It showed that all these bad things were happening to the world until it led up into destruction. But the end of the poem gave it a very light and airy feeling. So in the lines 23 to 24, it says, "Everyone worked together to make a ladder. A wing-clad person climbed out first into the next world. These lines basically show hope for the future. This, combined with the tone of being happy and being hopeful, along with the lines that they're climbing out of this old destructed world, is basically showing how we as a society are trying to move forward and right the wrongs of the past where we destroyed another uh, culture's world by colonizing them. So, in conclusion, I think that the poem Once the World Was Perfect was basically about how the colonization of Native people caused their world to be destroyed. But as time goes by, society is trying to right those wrongs. This poem is important because it explores the themes of intolerance, explores the themes of colonization, and it's also important because it's told from the perspective of a minority woman. And in history, minority women's voices have been silenced over and over again. So it's great to have this person have their experiences told through the world and so other people can know what it feels like. I would like to ask you to think about, have you ever done anything to destroy somebody else's world, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally through your own actions? Thank you.